Hello and welcome to Rebecca Assimilates. So today we are going to be thinking about something just a little bit different. Normally I talk to you about things that I have learnt myself through doing the wrong thing and ways that I've found to do the right thing, but today we're actually going to be thinking about something we could all do with writing a little bit more of to support our writing community and our writing world. If you're watching this, then I'm presuming you're a writer. And the thing is, we all understand the importance of book reviews, why we need people to review our work, so we really should be reviewing other people's books. And as writers, we know how important it is to keep reading when we're writing. You know, we don't ever stop doing that. We must keep reading books. So if you're a writer, I know you're reading, I know, okay? So I have to say, I'm quite good with this one. I always review books every time I read them. If I really don't like a book, I just won't finish it. It's a really bad thing to say, isn't it? But like, I'm talking like I really don't like it. Like really don't like it. Like, I've had ones that I've sort of ish not liked and I've still made it to the end and I've still written an okay review of it. But ones that you really don't like, just don't make it to the end. But every one I finish, I review because I feel like it's really important to write book reviews. So basically, you're thinking, nah, I don't need to do that. Okay, so you write stories. You might write those teeny weeny little micro stories. But you haven't just written one, have you? You've written loads of micro stories. So you're building up into the thousands, a few thousand, 10,000 words. Short stories, I don't know, 1,000, few thousand at a time. You might be writing novels, and then you can handle like 80,000 words at a time. You know, I know you can handle 80,000 words at a time, okay? So book reviews are like 300, 400 words. They're easy. We don't even have to think about them when we're handling such big, great novel words. You know, book reviews are so easy. They're like just a nice little welcome break. They're like just switching the kettle on, you know? We can do this. We've got this. Also, if you write book reviews, there are places, you know, it's not like you're just writing it and it doesn't go anywhere. You are going to try and put it to places. Obviously, there's obvious places online that you could put it that do help people. There's a lot of places online that would actually really quite enjoy a book review from you. And if you submit it to them and they do publish it, sometimes you might get good things will come. Okay, so basically the place that I submit mine to online is a local site called thanicwriters.com, and they put a book review out every Sunday. Sometimes, not all the time, not every time, but I know other people that have had reviews get published on there, and basically sometimes the authors of the book we review interact with us. So basically the thanicwriters.com, they do some of the legwork, as in they will put a link to your review that they've published on Facebook and they will tweet about it. And I have known people to actually have authors get hold of them after they have written a review of their work, which is just amazing, isn't it? It's kind of mind-blowing, really. I did not have a similar situation, unfortunately, but still it was pretty good. So like a few years ago, I reviewed one of my all-time favourite books, Wool by Hugh Howey. I love this book, okay? It's amazing. I love it so much. It's falling apart. I have read it so many times. It's such a good book. It's got everything you might want in a book. Or, okay, I can't just put that on everyone. It's got everything I want personally in a book. And just look how thick it is. Okay, so putting that down. Basically, Hugh Howey retweeted the tweet about my book review, which means that he read my book review and he liked my book review, and I was quite happy with that because I did actually have some constructive criticism in there, not much. I mean, it's a great book, but you know, it's an honest review. I think it's very important to be honest, gently honest, and yes, so that like made my day, week, month, everything. Okay, so I was very happy with that situation. So basically, I'm hoping I'm convincing you here to write a book review. And if you're thinking, yeah, all right, yeah, I'll give it a go, but I have no idea how to do it. I mean, I know obviously there's like Goodreads online and the reviews on there sometimes are just a few paragraphs, sometimes they're just a few lines, and that's not really what we're looking for here. We're looking for quite a nice, well-rounded review that is about 300-400 words, okay? You're a writer, you've got this is easy. Okay, so basically I have 5 golden rules for writing book reviews that I have found from writing book reviews myself. Rule number 1, and it's so important, is no spoilers. Okay, so I've read reviews before online of books that I thought I would like to read, and the reviewer of the book has told me too much. They've shed too much light on the story, and it's they've told me so much that actually I haven't even read the book anymore. I've lost interest in that book, which is such a shame. I mean, there was a review once I read that even told me what happened at the end of the book. It's just unthinkable, isn't it, really? But anyway, so no spoilers. So basically, I think it's really good when you're reviewing a book to just stick to the first third of the book. Don't go beyond that, because beyond that is like the gift of the author to the reader. They keep that. That's the gift for the reader for reading it. And if you go beyond that, you risk sort of ruining twists and, you know, really important plot points in the book, and you haven't earned that. You're not really allowed to do that. That's for the author to do. You can't do that. You just try and get people interested. Okay, so anyway, first third of the book. Golden rule number 2, start strong. Okay, so we are writers. We know how to keep them interested, okay? Hopefully. I mean, getting readers to read our work and keeping them reading is like the main point of everything we do, isn't it, really? What's the point of doing anything, of writing a really good story, if we can't do that? That is what we need to do. So we are good at that bit, and so we need to do that in our reviews. We need to start strong. We need to hook them in to our review. And I quite like to start with a quote. I feel like that's quite powerful, a quote from the book I'm reviewing. Because after all, they're not reading your review to read what you think completely. They do want to know a little bit about the book. And in a quote, in a really well chosen quote, it's like quite a tease. You're teasing them. This is what you could be reading. Like, you know, it's quite a good way to start off, I feel. Yeah, so that's how I start. But you must kind of remember that if you're going to use a quote from the book, you need to do it properly. Like, you need to just make it really clear and obvious that you're quoting the book with quotation marks and a reference, just so there's no confusion. Golden rule number 3, you do now need to shed some light on the story. So you want this to be different from the back cover blurb, because, you know, the back cover blurb is what is kind of like a little bit like formal sometimes, but you are a reader in this situation, leveling with other readers, and, you know, they want to know that, they want to know it from your point of view. They don't want to know it from the like publisher's point of view or the author's point of view. This is you. So you tell them about the setting. You tell them if it's like historical, if it's like way long ago, or if it's like way in the future, it's futuristic, or if it's like a fantasy land. You can tell them the setting, you can tell them the main characters, who the main characters are, you can tell them like the antagonist, as long as you know you're not ruining anything, as long as this is apparent in the first third of the book, then that's all fine. You can tell them if the point of view of the story, if you're seeing it just through one pair of eyes, or if it's flicking between a few different characters. You can tell them if, you know, if you're seeing it from like a first person perspective. Is it all like they're telling a story? Is it all told in I did this, I did that? Or is it like third person? Is it like, yes, James went here, Chloe did this, Phoebe did this, Simon said this? You can tell them that, that's okay. You can tell them the pace of the story. You can tell them the genre that it sits in, which is always, it's quite good to tell other readers what you as a reader think that is, because I have to say, what the author and the publishers put a book across as a genre, sometimes they're tricking you, sometimes it's not. Like the amount of books I've read because I thought they were something and they have turned into a whole something else, and they tricked me. But it's always worked out well, because I might not have read them otherwise, and I always really enjoyed them. So it was a good trick. I'm happy with that trick, but it was a trick nonetheless. So number 4, this is the bit that we have all been waiting for. Share our opinion. We can share what we think of all the points that we were saying when we were shedding some light on it, of the characters, remember sticking within the first third of the story, and all the scenes that we like and the way it is. I mean, if it is flicking between a few different points of view, did that happen smoothly? Were we happy with that? What scenes did we like the most? Why? What is it about the book that kept us reading? Was there anything that was a little bit jarring about it? And the thing is, as writers, we know that when we create stories, we put a whole lot of ourselves into the stories, and basically over time, we are growing our very own and cherished word babies, okay? So the book you're reviewing, that book is that author's word baby. You must be gentle with their word baby. You must treat it with respect and care. And when you criticise them, you need to do it with, like, it must be constructive. It must be constructive. And I always think it's very nice to, you know, put any criticism in one of those nice, like, sandwich things. So any criticism you say can go in between two very nice, succulent, wholesome slices of happy, constructive bread, okay? Just treat the word baby with the respect it deserves. Okay, so lastly, point number 5, you need to put some closing thoughts into it. So what I quite like to do to round it all up is I think about the reader that would enjoy this book that I've just finished reading, and I think they would also quite like this, and they might also watch that, and they'd like this. So I'm going to tell them that if they like this and this and this and this, then they should read this because they'll like that too. If that doesn't make sense, I have a quote from myself from the essay version of this topic, How to Write a Book Review. If you're a fan of shows such as The Walking Dead, you enjoy apocalyptic scenarios and aren't fazed by a little gore, blood and bone marrow, then you should put this book on the top of your reading pile. Okay, so you get the gist. If you write and you find that well, I'm not going to say easy and effortless because it isn't, is it? But if, you know, like 300, 400 words is, then please write book reviews. Do it for the other writers. Do it for their, like, kind of like family, aren't they, other writers? They're part of us. They're part of, like, this wonderful big grand scheme of writing world that we've got. And it's a way of kind of supporting each other. And it's also a way of just putting our opinions out there, which is also nice. And there are places that you can submit reviews to that will actually pay to publish your reviews. If they're happy with them, they will pay you to jabber on about the books you've read. It's wonderful. One way that I make sure that I review every book I read is that I don't let myself start reading another book until I've reviewed that book. It's because I've got no memory, really. If I start reading another book before I've reviewed the last one, I can't remember the last one, like, it's gone. So it might actually not work for you, but it works for me, and it gives me the motivation to review a book. Not that reviewing is hard work, but it's just like one of those things, isn't it? It's like, but actually once you get into it, you get into it, trust me. So that's kind of it for today. Thank you for spending this time with me and talking about how important book reviews are and how easy they are. Let's just do it. Okay, so please review books. And please leave me comments below about reviewing books, okay? Thank you. And I will see you soon.